What's up, everybody? This is Akern Esports. You're watching Nutty Notions, and I broke it down last week how this goes. It's my hot take, reasons, counter arguments, and well, there's no solutions this time. It's just a hot take. It's not a question. It's not a problem. It's just an opinion. So let's get started. And it's going to be a little controversial because people say this every year. People get hyped up every year. But this year is definitely going to be different. NA's going to make it out of groups. And NA fans should finally be excited for this region. Like every year, the subreddits, people are like going down on NA like, oh, it's going to be another year. It's going to be boring. It's going to, we're not going to make it out of groups. We're going to be the worst, like, major region at Worlds. But this year's going to be different. And let me give you the reasons why. Reason one, aggressive imports coming in and joining the LCS. So who do we got coming in? We got Alfari, Xerxes, Sword Art, Jose Diego, Perks, and then we also have people that joined before like Core JJ and Jizuke and Someday. And that's like 8 out of the 50 players right there. I think that's not only going to change the way scrims are played, but also solo queue, and then that's all going to translate into how the regular season is played. If players and teams see that these aggressive players are what is winning, they're not going to want to be passive or play the slow and steady style that they're used to. They're going to want to and adapt to be aggressive. And if they don't, then that's fine. The teams that have these players that are going to play aggressive, they're going to move together and move up the region, right? Because sometimes it's just the top teams. It is just the top teams that represent. And if we have these aggressive players as are in the top teams that represent us, then we're going to have a good showing at Worlds. All right, so reason two, carry style top lane. This season, more than any, I feel like we have a lot of carry top laners that can play that style, and that will give NA more flexibility in what style they choose to play, or even just like from game to game and best of fives, like, okay, this game we'll play through top, this game we'll play mid, we'll play through mid, this game we'll play through bot, maybe we'll even play through jungle, who knows. But just the fact that I'll just name out some people: Huni, Licorice, Alfari, Niles, Someday. I know Niles is a rookie, but if you saw him in scouting grounds, you know that he is willing to and can play that carry style top. So with these 5 players making up half of the top laners in the LCS, now the other 5 will either have to play a phenomenal top tank, or they're going to have to also be ready to play carry style. And I think this will just improve just specifically this lane, but also the region as a whole, because people will learn to play through this role, like the mid laner, the jungler. They'll have to learn to play through the top, especially when games are being decided by which top laner just smashing. So I think this will also develop the NA region, and maybe we can compete. I mean, when we get to world stages, it's obviously hard to compete with the biggest names from China and Korea, but I think these 5 players will make sure they refine each other, and also the other 5 players that aren't so into playing like carry style top, like, what's that saying, like, steel only sharpens steel, something like that, right? That's basically what I'm hoping for and what I'm expecting. All right, reason 3, new schedule. The new schedule is 45 games long, right? So that not only lets the teams decide who their 5 starters are going to be, right? Maybe you spend the first 10 games figuring out like who is the best fit, who's not, and it gives us more time to practice, one, which I feel like we weren't having as many games, so not as much practice, especially on stage. Even if it is remote, it's a different feeling, right? You're playing in a professional match. So as long as but if there's more games, there's more practice, and if there's more games, that also means teams can make their ideal rosters. Maybe teams have people on their academy roster that deserve a chance, like more than the people that are on their regular roster, right? So I think this will be another reason why NA will have a better showing, and they'll make it out of groups, right? I'm sticking to my guns. You guys can quote me on this on the end of the year. After 2 years of not making it out of groups, like, NA this year will make it out of groups. And then reason number 4, which I probably think is the biggest reason, is this influx of players, new players specifically. And why I think this is a big deal is because players that came into the scene like 2 to 3 years ago, who were they looking up to? They were looking up to the Korean style control, vision, really slow and steady, wait for the enemy team to make mistakes, and even if they don't, just like make small advantages and stuff. Like, and that's the way. That was the ideal way to play League. Korea was dominating, right? So all the people that came into the scene like 2 to 3 years ago, this is what they were watching. This is what they were looking up to. But now with, I want to say it's Chinese, but no, it's grown into like Europe and Korea, and these three regions seem to be able to play a very aggressive style, right? And the new players that are coming in, they're all going to play like their ideal is going to be the way China plays, or the way I guess like Dam1 plays, very aggressive, and like they're going to adapt. And this is who they've been looking up to, right? Obviously they're looking up to NA pros, but they're also looking up to pros from other regions, and this is what they're going to try to like imitate. And also I'm putting a lot of emphasis on aggression because I think that's just the way, that's the ideal way to play, to be super aggressive and like take some risks in game. Because I've seen too many times, especially on the world stage, like teams just bleed out. NA teams specifically, they bleed out like slowly, and it's grueling to watch. And it's just like, please do something, take a risk, take a chance, like you are the underdogs, please like swing for the freaking whatever it's called in baseball, the outfields. Right? Like, and I think like this new influx of players, it's gonna be big. Like it's gonna be very important, and especially rookies, they got something to prove, right? They want to prove that they're there. If you see Niles taking down Someday in the top lane, like a solo kill, he wants that, and he's gonna be looking for it. So I think these new players, rookie players, it's very important, and I think it's going to be another driving reason for why NA makes it out of groups, and why we should all be hyped up, like to be like viewers, fans of this region, right? Like I don't think I've ever been this optimistic. That's why I'm making this video. And then reason number 5, the complaints about solo queue. Solo queue is this, solo queue is that, yada yada yada. But literally in this preseason, we've had like in-house games, right, set up by Core JJ, and it's so much better than solo queue because one, you get to know who you're playing against, and you get to know who you're playing with. Other thing, you have comms. Other thing, you have coaches. You're not gonna be running into one tricks, and you're not gonna be running into toxic people that might just be looking to end the game that day. They're having a bad day, and it's like a tight-knit community, and they're looking to sharpen themselves. And this way you can practice certain styles. It's basically scrims, right? It's scrims, but instead of having to verse a whole other team, you play with random people, and you play against people that aren't in their same team. And these 5 reasons is why I think NA is going to make it out of groups, and why we should be excited, really, for NA this year. And maybe after watching the seasons, maybe I'll make another one saying like we're gonna make it out of quarterfinals or something like that. Well, we'll see. So some famous, I guess, counter arguments to why NA sucks, right, is player base is too small. But I think that issue has kind of been solved by bringing in I know it's a solo queue complaint, but like I'm assuming a lot of OCE players are going to come to North America to play and to like be drafted, to be brought up into the LCS. Like I'm assuming, maybe I'm hopeful, but that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. So I'm hoping and guessing like at least like the top echelon of talent is going to grow, because we're going to have an influx of OCE players. And then another complaint for solo queue is one tricks and toxicity and people just inting games. Excuse me. But I think that is also solved by the last reason I gave, which is the in-house league. And if somehow players could come together, maybe the Players Association headed by Darshan, if they can come together and create something outside, right? So players can, obviously you want to play solo queue, but if you just want to hone your craft, maybe this in-house league can go on through the season, and instead of playing solo queue, you play in this in-house league. And that sounds great to me. Like it'll just be like this little side thing that's happening, and it's a good way to practice. Besides, obviously teams are gonna be scrimming and stuff, but this is just an extra way. And then and then nothing. All right, I had to cut that part off. I started babbling about ping. I don't know much about that, servers, how they're set up, and all, yada yada yada. So yeah, this is my hot take. This is my nutty notion. Why I think NA will make it out of groups. Why I think fans should be excited. And yeah, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button if you want. If you don't, it's fine. I'm doing this because I love it. And yeah, all right, guys. Have a good night. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.